Battleline Podcast got some interesting news, some actually pretty wild news going on militarily. And when that type of stuff is happening, we like to get into it. So that'll be in the first segment. And then we have former Blackwater contractor Rob Jabber coming on for the interview segment. But for those of you joining us for the first time, which every episode there's new listeners, if you're unfamiliar, my name is Ian Scott.
I am Tonto.
And we're excited to get into this episode. If you've picked up the Patriots Creed, you may have heard Rob Jabber's story. So it'll be interesting to get into that more in depth. Before we do, what keeps us going and what keeps this show alive is really our sponsors. And if you listen to the SHOT Show episode, man, the company is getting to meet a lot of these guys for the first time. If you want to see people who have true passion for what they do, companies like Fort Scott, companies like Medieval Industries, it's really incredible seeing how much passion they put into their product. So if you've been with us since the beginning, so is Fort Scott Munitions. They are a manufacturer of multi-federal patented solid copper and brass CNC spun ammunition. It's designed to tumble upon impact in soft tissue, leaving devastating wound channels for faster bleed out and quicker incapacitation. This ammunition was originally developed to innovate and improve on the standard of military-grade ammunition design. It was found that not only did the TUI ammunition outperform competitors in the self-defense industry, but it quickly became apparent that it would be a top contender for hunters alike. With the ammunition being CNC spun, the tolerances are some of the tightest on the market, ensuring that you receive the same results with each pull of the trigger. Fort Scott Munitions is available throughout privately owned businesses in all 50 states. Just go to the dealer locator on fortscottmunitions.com and you're going to find where to get their stuff. For me, for example, it's South Shore Sportsman in Merrick. So shout out to them. Shout out to anybody who's carrying Fort Scott Munitions. Use the exclusive promo code Battleline for 15% off your order. Only available to listeners of the Battleline Podcast. They have merch on there that you can pick up. Of course, there's an ammo shortage, so you're not going to see all of that stuff on there, but check out the dealer locator. Fort Scott Munitions is a proud supporter of Chris Peranto, Battleline Tactical, and the Battleline Podcast. Once again, link is in the description, FortScottMunitIons.com, and use the promo code Battleline. And today's show is sponsored in part by Medieval Industries. They manufacture the only fully adjustable foregrip on the market. The 360-degree VFG mounts to all tactical rails and allows you to swivel and lock the grip into any position on the fly. Whether you're hunting, shooting for sport, or challenging yourself in precision tactical shooting competitions, this unique adjustable foregrip will become a natural extension of your rifle. Medieval has expanded their product line to include a quick detach tripod and most recently quick detach adjustable monopod. They've designed and engineered the necessary components to create a tactical shooting system and have integrated the QD tripod into their line of modular quick detach accessories. Medieval's newest setup, the Overwatch Commander, is an extremely stable shooting platform that's quickly and easily deployed into tight spaces. This new lightweight compact system is capable of what many heavier, larger tripods on the market can do and allows for widespread accessibility because of its small footprint. The entire system weighs just under 6 pounds and deploys in seconds. Medieval Industries is committed to providing all gun enthusiasts with precision-engineered, high-quality weapon accessories. All products are designed and developed with first-rate materials for strength and endurance. And if you listen back to the SHOT Show episode, we get really in-depth. So check that out and check them out at mid-evil.com, mid-evil.com. Let's go.
From Omaha, Nebraska to New York City, from planet Earth to extraterrestrial life in space, a podcast with no equal, engaged in unconventional warfare through your speakers and headphones. This is a show about embracing the suck, conquering your demons, and finding God in the face of adversity. Chris Tonto Peranto.
Twitch is on. Motherfucker, I'm gonna shoot you in the face.
Ian Scotto.
Ian and I have been dating for a long time.
You are now tuned into the Battleline Podcast.
The switch is on. Battleline Podcast. A lot going on, as I said today, that we wanted to get into. But yeah, before we do, how's everything going, man?
Good. Just cold. It got cold out here, and yeah, since we moved from Nebraska to Kansas, and I'm not allowed to say where in Kansas, or I get thrown out of the house. It's actually it is
location.
We're down more southern Kansas. It's been, honestly, the weather has been more enjoyable down here. Omaha just gets cold. I mean, even when we don't get the snow, when I used to be living in Omaha, it just gets butt ass cold. I mean, that cold that your fingers hurt. And in Kansas, it gets colder. We've got a lot of snow right now. We had that big snow.
Same here
if you've been paying attention, I think everybody got the snow except for Miami. And maybe
but some of Florida hit 30.
Yeah, I know it did. Like Destin and all that got cold. That's why Ranger School in the wintertime, guys. When I say I went Ranger School in the wintertime in Florida, this is how we got those cold storms going through. But anyway, it just, you don't have that bite here, that freaking bite cold from the wind that you get in the Dakotas and you get in Nebraska and you get into Iowa. And you do get in the northern parts of Kansas or out the western parts of Kansas, but where we live, it's the winter has been very pleasant. It really has. And the snow is, it's cold today, but it'll last for a day and then it's gone out of here, and it'll be, it's supposed to be 50 degrees next week, 55, maybe even to get in the 60s. So it fluctuates a little bit more in Kansas, like the differences, but it's enjoyable. And I can get outside and run more in the wintertime, which is nice.
Yeah, and meeting the guys at Fort Scott Munitions and just talking to them about Kansas and stuff. I got to learn a little bit more about the area, and some of them moved there just to work with Fort Scott, for example.
Yeah.
I wanted to get into this article though. This is being covered all over, but this one specifically is from The Hill. This is pretty big news, I would say. So Biden calls for Taliban to release American hostage before legitimately recognizing them, before legitimacy was recognized. So this reads, President Biden on Sunday, and for those listening, you're listening on Monday, so this doesn't mean yesterday Sunday, last week Sunday, called for the release of American hostage Mark Frerichs ahead of the 2-year anniversary of his abduction if the Taliban expects to be recognized as the legitimate government of Afghanistan. And then the quote is, 2 years ago tomorrow, U.S. Navy veteran Mark Frerichs was taken hostage in Afghanistan. A civil engineer, he spent a decade helping the people of Afghanistan. He has done nothing wrong, and yet for 2 years the Taliban has held him captive, Biden said in a statement. Threatening the safety of Americans or any innocent civilians is always unacceptable, and hostage-taking is any act of particular cruelty and cowardice, he said. The Taliban must immediately release Mark before it can expect any consideration of its aspirations for legitimacy. This is not negotiable. Frerichs, a U.S. Navy veteran, was abducted in February of 2020. He had worked as an engineer for a decade in Afghanistan on development projects. The State Department is currently offering a reward of up to $5 million for information that leads to the location, recovery, and return of Frerichs. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken echoed Biden's call on Sunday, saying in a statement, "We call on the Taliban to release him. We will continue working to bring him home." Frerich's sister, Charlene Kakara, said in an interview published on Saturday by Daily Herald in their native Illinois that her family has recently spoken to Roger Carstens, the special presidential envoy for hostage affairs at the State Department. "We know he is trying to get Mark home, but this is a decision that has to be made at the top," said Kakora. They want to trade Mark for one of their guys who has been in U.S. prison for 17 years. According to Kakora, Illinois Senators Dick Durbin and Tammy Duckworth have also provided excellent support and have worked to make Mark a priority. "The worst part is worrying if Mark has enough to eat, if he is healthy and safe in the middle of a pandemic, if he has warm clothes," she added. "We wish we could speak with him, but the Taliban doesn't want anything from us. They want something from the U.S. government, and we need our government to act on this." So with that, I'm actually surprised that I'm ashamed to say I have not heard the name Mark Frerichs until a couple of days ago. This is not a story that was on my radar, and I don't think it was being reported much. And I really didn't know that we had a former a veteran who was being held hostage over there for the past 2 years.
Yeah, and that's not media news. I'm not hating to say it, and I do. That's not a story that, especially with everything else going up in the election with the presidential election and all that went on. The news was to get people elected and to keep doing this pandemic or endemic, I would call it now, to be honest with you. I wouldn't even call it a pandemic. I think that's just a catchword now to make people still scared. But brother, it's just how the U.S. government is, buddy. And maybe in a positive way, I'm saying this positive. Maybe they were doing that because I figured they were getting troops ready, trying to find him, to go get him. Because that's what Delta and SEAL Team 6 and, FBI HRT that still work internationally from time to time. And, then, of course, the Rangers and MARSOC and so forth. I thought maybe they were hatching a plan to get him. So the best thing to say is nothing at all, which to me is the best thing in any sort of clandestine operation is don't say anything. Don't get it to the media, because the media are the best intel collection for our enemies is CNN and Fox and MSNBC. They don't need their own intel services because our media gives out everything that they need to know. But it sounds like that wasn't the case. And now here we go. To me, that sounded like we were negotiating with terrorists, is what that said. Hey, you're not going to be recognized until you let him go. Well, how about you just say, you're not going to be, if you don't let him go, we're going to come and basically bomb the living shit out you, which I guess that's my aggressive military ranger way of thinking, instead of saying, hey, let him go or you won't be recognized as a legitimate, really, the Taliban, you're going to recognize a terrorist organization as a legitimate government, whatever.
Do you think he'll be released though?
If he's still alive?
This guy will.
No. Is the Taliban going to release him so they'll become deemed legitimate in the Western world? The Taliban doesn't give two shits about the Western world. They hate us. They despise us. They think the Western world we're the infidels. That hasn't changed. That has not changed from 2001 or even before that, with 1993 with this, Black Hawk Down. Islamic extremists, the Western world, we are infidels, we are lesser humans, and that they won't. And if they do, then great.
The thing that's crazy,
I'd be happy to be wrong.
The thing that's crazy too is you really feel for this guy when I wasn't sure if he was as active duty, and I was like trying to research a little more.
If I remember right, Navy, he was former Navy
but former Navy, because he's actually an older guy. I mean, he's nearly 60 years old, and it makes you look, in any situation you feel for someone going through this, but to be almost 60 and having to be in this scenario is ridiculous. It's terrible.
And I guarantee you that old hardhead, he probably knew what he was getting into. So I'm sure he'll tell you, well, that was part of the risks of the job, and he wouldn't poo-poo about it, cry about it or anything. But yeah, to have nobody go get him, no special operations unit or the intel CIA, which is, hey buddy, what are you doing, CIA? You're supposed to be locating this guy. For them not to be able to find him in 2 years,
apparently
is it? Tell me, maybe I don't.
Apparently, the Navy SEALs, from what I've seen, the Navy SEALs did work to rescue him at one point. But that's all.
They hit I believe it was what we call a dry hole. They hit in there. It wasn't there. The guys on the ground, the guys doing the work, I know they want to go get him. I know they want to go find him, and they're pissed off that they're not able to do so, or they can't find him, or brother, the realism of it all. And you'll ask guys, even though they want to be optimistic, it's been 2 years. He may not be alive, and they still may be using him as a tool to get America to address the needs and the wants and the things that the Taliban wants. They're whatever the Taliban needs to put out there media wise or just to negotiate with. They're going to keep saying, well, he's still alive. I mean, that's how they are. They've done it before. They'll do it again. There's no integrity there. But if he is alive, I hope the agency is still trying to find him. I hope the human intelligence gatherers out there are still trying to find him and locate him and get a location. So, So one of those special ops units, one of those units can go get him and find him. And you never know, maybe somebody will stumble across him. And a lot of these times with these many years, I say a lot, man, a lot being 2 or 3, but to me, that's a lot. It's a local that actually finds him and befriends him and gets him out of there. When it's this long, it's a local, and that's why it still bothers me that we left Afghanistan how we did, because I would put dollars again. My saying, dollars to donuts. A local, if he's still alive, finds him, is friendly to the Western world, loves the Western world, loves America, and gets him out of there. And then we come and grab him after he's taken to a safe spot within whether Pakistan, Afghanistan, so forth, somewhere where, okay, I got him. Yeah, he's an asset. We got it. It's an asset that's friendly to the United States, that it's a local national, and then we go pick him up. I think that is probably a best case scenario that we could hope for finding a needle in a haystack and then sending troops to go get him. I don't think our intel service has proven to be able to do that without help, a lot of help from the locals. And if you're an Afghani national now, why the fuck would you want to help America? We just shit on you and like, well, I'm not going to help America now. Fuck, they didn't get us out of here when we were helping them and they were leaving. Why the hell am I going to help him now and basically condemn his family or her family, whoever helps him, to death? Because that's what will happen. But brother, I hope he gets out too. I hope they find. I hope he's still alive. And Tammy Duckworth was good to me when we did the Benghazi hearings. And she's a veteran. She was a Black Hawk pilot. She flew us. She flew us around in Ranger School. I think politics aside, I don't care what side she's on as far as Democrat. I give two shits. I think she really does have the best interests of this guy in mind, and doesn't see it as a political statement. It's more, hey, we need to get him out of here. So I'm glad she's on it. But again, bro, the odds are stacked, and I'm just being real. The odds are stacked against this gentleman unless a local national in the area finds him and still trusts America enough to help. But I'm telling you what, if he does, he's condemning his family and his family's family and whatever tribe he's with to death from the Taliban. And why would you do that with what we just did to him? I mean, that's my opinion. If I'm trying to think like an Afghani, but I don't know, man. It kind of pisses me off. But yeah, I remember that. I do remember when he was captured. But you're right. It kind of went out of the news, and I didn't even think about it till I saw it on the 1440 or the news thing we get.
Yeah, which I'm glad that at least it's being addressed by Biden. At least he's addressing this, because, like I said, it wasn't on my radar. So someone put it on his radar to make it a priority to get this.
Yeah, well, I hope it was Congresswoman Duckworth. I really have a lot of respect for her and from my experience within the select committee hearings that I went through like 2 or 3 times there for Benghazi. She, I know she didn't really back us and what because of her being Democratic, but she never treated me with disrespect. And again, she's got a lot of military experience, and I don't think politics play anything to her when it comes to situations like this. So yeah, you're right. I'm glad it's being addressed. I hope hope they get him out. And I hope a local maybe we got people in Afghanistan listening to our show. If you're a local Afghani,
I think we do actually.
And you know where this gentleman's at. Help him, get him out of there. And I promise you, if you are, and I'm putting it, Ian, this is on me and you. I'm making a bold statement here. If you are treated like shit by America after you help this gentleman, we will definitely go to bat for you and call him out, because we want to make sure you get out of that country too. Because I know you've sentenced your life to death if you stay there by helping find this veteran to get him out of Afghanistan. So Ian, sorry, I just barely rolled the dice there on that one. We may have a big, if he doesn't get treated well or doesn't get his family out of there, because they do. If he helps, he's got it. They got to bring his family out of there along with the POW, along with the veteran that's good.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I was wondering, would you technically call him a POW, because he wasn't, serving in combat there. He's a veteran.
He's a vet. Well, it was during, I think we were still calling it the global war on terror at the time. So,
yeah, but I'm saying, I don't think he has been active, being that he's nearly 60. I assume he has.
If he was a contractor, I still say you're a prisoner of war. I mean, that's what you are. Whether it's the right term as far as definition goes, I don't care. It was during global war on terror. You were serving America. You were there doing whatever.
Yeah, it just says he had worked as an engineer for a decade.
And that if he was over there with the Army Corps of Engineers, Army Corps of Engineers hires a lot more contractors than they actually have guys that are serving at the time. That's a big area where there are contractors, DoD contractors. And to me, by definition, you know me, dude, I don't give two fucks about what the definition is. You're there. You were captured during the global war on terror before it was ended in a fiasco. To me, you're a prisoner of war and should be treated as such and should be put at that high of a pedestal. Get him out of there. You know, we leave nobody behind. Well, we've seen, and I've seen personally that isn't always the case in DC, but it sounds like at least someone in DC is still adhering to that, which, hey, that's a great sign. You know, with the shit that goes on in DC and the lack of integrity there, that's a bright spot. And we need a lot more bright spots in the Beltway because there's not a lot of them there. So.
And I just wanted to address in terms of the accuracy of the reporting, because I sent this to you, I don't know if I want to call him out, but him. A place I previously worked, I guess you would say, had a headline that Mark Frericks was a Navy SEAL. So I'm sure a lot of people picked up on the story and said Navy SEAL captured. And look, I could possibly be wrong. I don't know the guy, but I've looked at every single other source, and there's not one source that calls him a Navy SEAL. And I checked with other guys I know, and apparently he was a Navy diver. And these tidbits are very important. Navy diver, Navy SEAL, very different.
If he was a Navy diver before it, like in Vietnam times, before the advent of the SEALs, that's the precursor to the SEALs. Were Navy combat divers. Then they became SEALs. So it's kind of like how Lerp.
Oh, like Jesse Ventura.
Exactly. So, I did read that too, and to me, with your past organization, I see that as just clickbait. I mean, I don't know what you think. That's like, hey,
I don't know. I saw it, and I just think it's important to get the accuracy correct. And look, if I'm incorrect, I will always correct myself. I haven't seen any article that called him a SEAL other than from this one place. So I don't think that's accurate.
But regardless, he's an American. He served. He was there during the global war on terror. He was working, from what I understand and reading the article as well. He was a DoD contractor working as an engineer, which leads me to believe that he's working for the Army Corps Engineer, which is helping rebuild the infrastructure of Afghanistan. And he was captured. And to me, he's a prisoner of war. The definitions that these kids in DC use, the smart kids that have never.
No, I mean, I don't know if prisoner of war technically means someone who is in active duty. That's all that the only point I'm making.
I got you, bro. Prisoner of war is if you are serving and you were captured, you can, it's a big catchphrase, Vietnam, prisoners of war, we never found them. You are serving. So by definition, if you wanted to get technical, not you out there that want to troll us, if you want to get technical, Tano, he wasn't a prisoner of war. Well, fuck you. Yeah, he is. He was there during the war. He got captured serving and working for the United States of America, just like my buddy Tombstone, who was captured with Pakistan, a GRS operator that was captured after zipping up a guy that tried to rob him in Pakistan. That's why you don't try to rob GRS operators on the street, guys. They zipped him up and he got captured. To me, he was still a prisoner of war, even though he was a GRS contractor. He still was, and he was treated as such. Gotcha. So, but I'm not busting your balls, dude. I'm busting the balls of our listeners, whoever wants to troll us out there. And so, I don't think I'm busting your balls. Dude.
I always want to make sure it's accurate, because I was even wondering when I'm reading this: is it technically a prisoner of war? Is it not? But with that, we do have to get to Rob Jaffer. Just to transition here, I'm going to go from this very serious story to talking about balls. Why am I talking about balls? Because proper grooming requires precision engineered tools. Not only do a man's sensitive areas require it, but hygiene demands it. Manscaped is the global leader in men's below the waist grooming. The skin safe technology are set back from the edge 3 millimeters and precision engineered for maximum confidence while trimming below the waist. Trimming in the shower is also easy and creates less mess. Comfortably operate the Lawnmower 4.0. That's their new one, the 4.0 trimmer in wet or dry conditions. Just go to, you don't even have to go to their site. Go to battlelinepodcast.com/manscaped, and it'll bring you right there to get a free pair of boxers, a toiletry bag, and free shipping with your purchase of the Performance Package 4.0. This stuff is great. I mean, this is essential. We're not in the summer yet, but we're getting there at some point, and you're going to want to be manscaped.
And I am shorn, and the best way to do it is in the shower. You got to shorn and if you're going to shorn yourself, do stuff. I've used some crappy stuff, and when you pinch or cut down there, it doesn't feel good. And that was before the advent of Manscaped, when all of us had to do it with the Bic razor in the shower. But guys, their stuff is tremendous. You make a mess if you don't get in the shower. Now their stuff is it's waterproof. It is waterproof, really. It is not water resistant, waterproof. So use it, buy it, get it, and my wife is very still happy that I am shorn down below, and I guarantee you, your significant other or future significant other is going to be happy too. My wife is, and I'll say it, and she's going to be pissed off I am saying it, but she always I don't want you to ever have any growth down there anymore. And gotta get the lawnmower down there, and sometimes, and that's what Manscaped's for. So
check it out, guys. Battlelinepodcast.com/manscaped. And when it comes to protein supplements, I've said this recently, if you're taking a whey protein, if you're even taking a vegan protein, this is all stuff that you're getting regularly in your diet, but you're not getting collagen in your diet. So really, it's essential. This is an essential thing to have, whether it's for joint recovery, whether it's for hair, skin, and nails, or just recovery from a workout. Bubs Naturals, it's something we use every day. After a workout, you could put it in your coffee. In these cold months, I meant to say, if you want a warm drink, you could put this in your hot chocolate. It's great. It mixes with everything, and you use
I've got it.
Tea oil every day. Apple cider vinegar gummies. All their stuff is great.
And the Fountain of Youth is tremendous. My wife uses the Fountain of Youth too. She does see her hair grow and nails grow. Mine too. And I'm 50 years old, guys, and I got my nails growing on my hair. For my outer rags pomade, actually, still I got enough hair to do it. So, guys, Bubs is awesome. I swear by it. It's like them and Ned's. If you want a healthy them and a healthy lifestyle, put Bubs as part of your lifestyle every day, and you'll see the difference, and you'll feel the difference in your joints. You'll feel the difference in your recovery and your muscles. I do. I can work out I work out every day. I don't even take a day off anymore. And wow. I have to say it's
more than I could say.
I have to say I can at 50 years old because of companies like Bubs that makes products that are good for a healthy lifestyle, and they're natural, and the stuff it tastes good. I mean, who wants to take crap that doesn't taste good? It does, and you're right. The collagen is tremendous. Just dissolves right away, along with the MCT oil in my coffee, and 2 scoops a day, and the gummies work tremendous, guys. Healthy lifestyle, you got to add Bubs into it. I swear by it. Ian swears by it. We've been using it now. How long have we been using it now? Quite a few. I mean, it's been
really a couple of years at this point, more for me, because I've known Sean for a while now, for probably more like 4 or 5.
And you got me into it, and also the proceeds, part of their proceeds go to the Glenn Doherty Memorial Foundation, my former GRS teammate that died saving lives in Benghazi, Libya on 9/11/2012, and he did. His heroism saved Dave Ubben and Oz, who were basically had their arms and legs blown off by an 81 millimeter mortar. So that is another reason why to take Bubs, not just because it's awesome, but because they have good hearts and their money goes to the right places when they help foundations. So tremendous, guys. If you haven't tried it, try it and use our discount. We got a great discount with them.
Yeah, well said. I echo all of that. BubsNaturals.com. Use the promo code Battleline for 20% off. You can go elsewhere, but you're not going to get as good of a deal as through us. So BubsNaturals.com, promo code Battleline for 20% off. And in the process, you're helping the show. So if you like what we do, go out and support them.
Hey, look at my name. I even used my original. That is my original call sign. I like it. We'll talk about that, Ian. That is my original call sign given to me by this fucker when we were in Iraq.
Oh, wow. All right, let's get into it then. So you don't have any questions, right? I could just introduce you. You're good to go.
No, we're good.
All right.
Well, so I could tell the audience, I didn't even hit the record button right after we did those reads, but I could tell there's going to be a lot of not inside stuff.
Yeah.
We'll give you the backstory on all of it. But there's definitely a lot of history between.
And his head still looks like a penis. It still looks like a penis.
Which is a nice transition from
it's better than the vagina.
Oh man, here we go. Good thing we're good. That's why we're not in the faith-based category, even though we do get faithful around here.
I know. If you're listening to like Joel Osteen and then this, I don't know.
Hey guys, go ahead. I'm sorry, and I'm already.
No, I was just going to say, just to give some backstory on who Rob is. So Rob Jabber, former military contractor from Blackwater, and if you picked up this book, The Patriots Creed, his story is highlighted in there. His story is featured in this book. And if you haven't picked up the book by now, you really should, whether it's through Audible, battlelinepodcast.com/Audible, or just pick it up in stores. It's a great book. And yeah, the book really details Rob's story of being heavily wounded in 2009 during a double suicide car bomb attack. And really the interesting thing about Rob's background is other guys that we've had on the show, like John St. Nick.
St. Nick, yeah. St. Nick, whatever you want to call John.
Yeah, John Castle that we had on the show, is that Rob did not have former military experience. Rob was just a guy who was able to speak the language, being from Michigan and your Muslim background, and decided, hey, I don't want to be behind a desk anymore. I want to be on the ground working with guys like Chris. So yeah, with that, it's an honor to have you on, and I'm interested to learn the whole backstory.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No, you don't. Don't patronize him, dude. You don't appreciate shit. That's the. I was like, what is it? Yeah, I remember me and was it Dave? The third bat Dave, crazy the guy Gucci. He looked great, Guccier than me. Dave. If you remember, anyway, Dave and then Boone, when he came through that first class at Blackwater, we're like, who's this fucking lumpy bastard with us? Why the fuck is he here?
Yeah, I felt like I was didn't even belong. I'm a, let's see, police officer reserve, coming in here with all these guys. Yeah, kind of intimidated here with all the former military guys, It's like, what? Do I belong here? What the fuck is going on?
Actually, and that's Rob. And I know we'll get into it. You and I, we'll talk get into some other stories. But I think people are interested in, honestly, brother, and you be as candid as you want. Obviously, you can see that we are very candid ourselves. But I want people to know, because I know the story. But you come in here before you even got to that point. Before your family, and because your work ethic is tremendous. I've never seen anybody work so hard in my life. He is tremendous. And we'll get into more of that when he used to go on runs with me in 120-degree heat in Iraq, and I thought he was going to pass out, and he kept up with me and Lucas. But if you can get into like just coming over, coming from Lebanon and just talking about just get through your work ethic, and then why you joined Blackwater after, what made you decide to do that. So be as quick or slow as you want to be, but people need to hear that, and because I have much respect for that, and I think they will too.
My family migrated to the U.S. back in 1983. That was right when the war was breaking out in Lebanon. And everything, all the schools were shutting down.
Right.
There's nothing.
And the barracks, when the barracks,
I was blessed,
bombed right around that time. But the Marine barracks.
I think it was right around that time, and then the Israeli war started and all that. And so, schools were shut down. It's either we stay in the country, we're not going to be educated. We're either going to be carrying a rifle or we're gone. So my dad didn't want that. Both my parents didn't want that. My dad. I was blessed enough that my dad knew the U.S. ambassador to Syria at the time. And so he was able to get us a permanent visas to the U.S. And my dad at that time sent my mom, my brother, and my sister, all of us here, and he followed later. And we've been here. We moved. We got here. It was all my mom's side of the family live here in Ohio. So nobody from my dad's side. So we came, and I came to Toledo of all places. Didn't know anything, went to school, didn't even know the language. I was like around 5th grade.
Wow.
So, and had to learn the language. It was actually, better for me to be away from where none of the Arabs are. So that way I don't have, the broken English. Obviously everybody says, hey, you don't have no broken English. Yeah.
Well, you can't speak English for shit. It ain't broken. You just can't speck English at all. That's just your brain housing unit, dude. That had nothing to do with you being Lebanese. Yeah. So, yeah.
And I was always brought up, you just work hard at anything you do. You just do it at the best, work hard and don't stop. And that's, I've seen my dad, how hard he worked for us, and my brother and I started working when we were 13 to help the family out, moving over here. My dad was pretty well off overseas, but when he sent us over here, he left a lot of his money in Lebanese liras. So when the war broke out, the lira at that time, was pretty. It's just like it happened in Iraq and dinar.
Yeah, it went to shit. Just went to shit.
Yeah, he had millions and millions of dollars in liras, which meant a lot. After the war, when he goes back, that $1 million were maybe $100.
I see wasn't that amazing? So amazing, just that like the Iraqi dinars. When guys were buying like 10,000 Iraqi dinars for $1, and it's still worth a dollar. The Lebanese economy came,
and that's how it happened. So my brother and I kind of picked off the slack since we were 13. We just started going to school, working, and helping out the family.
And you played sports too in high school, didn't you? If I remember, we talked about.
I did. I played football in high school, and a lot of times I had to skip practice because I had to go to work.
Wow, man!
So
that impressed me.
Yeah, so it was pretty tough.
That always impressed me. Because I was, I don't know, 13 years old. I'd work in the summers, but shit, I didn't work during school.
No, it's a blessing. It made me the person I am. I don't regret anything. It shapes you for who you are.
So my question, I think I've asked you this at the dinner table before when we were joking, and we probably had drank too much anyway, so I don't remember the answer. Too much sake. But I was. Why didn't you join the military? I mean, you were fit for it. I mean, obviously you fit in, and we'll get into the stuff as a contractor where you and I work together. But what was the reason you didn't? And if I would like people to know, because I was always interested in that. I'm like, man, he should have. Why didn't you?
You know what? I've always been into the military. Like growing up, I've always wanted to be a soldier. And I've loved it, and I always wanted that kind of lifestyle. And I never really did it for a minute. I almost did out of high school because I did not go straight to college right after college. I ended up traveling with the ice show, Disney on Ice.
Oh shit! I didn't know that. Oh man, did you really? Yeah. Were you?
What did you do?
Skater? Well, my uncle at that time, he used to be like the concession stands manager. So he managed that place. So anytime he was there, I traveled with him. Just doing concessions.
Give me a story. I mean, give us a story, man. I didn't know. I didn't even know that, and I've known Rob forever. Jesus.
Yeah, no, I traveled for the whole year, because I couldn't decide whether I wanted to go to college, what I want to do, and I was too late to register. So I was like, okay, for 6 months, I went ahead, called him up, was like, hey, what are you guys doing? Doing the East Coast, West Coast? He goes, no, we're doing the East Coast. I said, all right, I'm gonna come. So I went out. I mean, we traveled all over the U.S. Cool. You spend, a week in every city basically, and that's basically it. Was a good experience. Made some money. And then I decided, all right, you know what? It was either join the military or go do college. But then I was like, okay, if I join the military, do I want to be enlisted? Yeah. No. I'd rather go in there as an officer. So let me get my degree and then think about doing that. And by that time, it just I got into the corporate world, doing work, and just went from there and never happened.
Did your dad kind of push you that way? Your mom, and since they saw the war, and how awful it was, they knew that but they never say, hey, we don't want you to go military. Let's go. And
what my mom will always be the one that, hey, she's always afraid. Sure. But the only thing my parents always said is do whatever you want. Except the only thing we ask you is to finish your education.
Sure. No, I don't.
Get your degree. And that's it.
It sounds like my parents. My mom is always like, she wanted to go to college. And then I feel like her advice to me has always been, she's like, just don't get anyone pregnant. That's mom says that many times to me in my life.
Listen, I've had those talks too. And I've had those scares too.
What college has done, you got done with college and then you started working, and I know you did a job, but what was your push to finally, and again, I know, but I want you to tell everybody out there to become a contractor, man. I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to go to Iraq and become and especially being Muslim and saying, mindset.
Well, the funny part is, when I graduated college, I went into the banking industry. I started doing it as a management trainee back then for Standard Federal Bank, and then, stayed in the banking industry for a while. And then I started doing, bond trading for Comerica Bank at that time. And I had a lot of time on my hands, so I decided to put myself through the police academy. And I did that, started doing the Sheriff Reserve, and I enjoyed it more.
Sure.
Than being behind.
So wait, you were becoming a bank manager and you had extra time to go to the police academy. Okay, I just want to put it in perspective for all the 20-somethings out there when they say they're too much, they're working too hard.
When there's a will, there's a way. When there's a will, there's a way. Keep yourself busy, occupied.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then when I was doing the banking at the same time, there was Access, which is it's a little like community center here that helps out the local Arab community. And we had, at that time, it was just when the Iraq war started off. And we had a company, and I was on the small business committee board. Mm-hmm. And we had some, I said, worldwide language resources come to us, ask us to help them get translators to go overseas. I was like, all right. So, we started helping them out, and I thought about it. It's like, you know what? Let me see about doing that. I fuck it. It's like, it's a 6 months contract. Go do that. Fuck. So I jumped on it, called my uncle at that time. He's like, hey, you want to go overseas? He's like, yeah. I said, this is the deal. You're only making like, I think, 70 grand at that time. They were paying. Yeah. I was like, fuck it. Let's go. We'll try it out. It was kind of first time being away from your family, friends, and everything like that, being in a whole totally different countries, did that. Didn't like being an interpreter. Fuck no. I hated it. And being there, but it was good opportunity because I met a lot of the BW guys over there on the brand details and stuff like that, and started talking. And they're like, why aren't you working with us? So, and that's how I got into BW. And then Justin back then, called me up. He's like, hey, get you into this class. Send me over all your information. And I ended up.
And for those wondering, I just want to make sure for the audience, when you say BW, we're talking
Blackwater.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I ended up breaking my contract with
what
language company.
Yeah, was it where you
come back early? Yeah, to come back early and to make DSS 1, the class 1.
Yeah,
and that's how I started out.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, you at least have law enforcement experience. We could get you in that way, and your language will help out even more. And that's the way I got in.
Well, and
because back
we didn't have any really interpreters per se at that time. I mean, honestly,
And I wasn't going in as an interpreter. It's like they always asked me to be an interpreter. It's like, I cannot stand being an interpreter. I'll use my language to help out my team, but I will not be labeled as.
Why didn't you like the interpreter stuff when you were doing it? I never really asked you that.
It's just not me. For me, I like being involved. Like when I was doing the interpreter gig, they weren't allowing me to carry a weapon. They weren't doing. It's like, fuck that shit. I ain't relying on nobody else's to cover my ass.
I understand that if you're with the U.S. troops and you're not an American citizen, and like we're picking you up from the street, because I agreed with some of that where we had interpreters from Egypt, we had interpreters from Iraq there, And it was, I don't know if I want to give you a gun yet because I don't know what side you're on, because you didn't. But you're an American citizen, brother. That's just the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, and that's what I thought. And you know what? And when I was attached, I was actually attached to the human teams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we were running sources.
Yeah, you gotta have a gun.
We were running sources like crazy, and we were looking at that time for Saddam. And we called them the shoe beacon.
Yeah, that's funny. And guys, for anybody, the human teams are the ones that are going like searching house to house. They're contractors. But a lot of them are former SFODD Delta guys, former Special Operations guys, and even the old school jawbreaker CIA guys. Not the new ones you got now at the agency, but the old jawbreaker people that could rattle your teeth if they wanted to. And that was some heavy shit, and you weren't carrying, which is that's no bueno, man.
I wasn't carrying, and I was like, fuck that.
Yeah.
But I did get, one of the guys, the first guy that I worked with, he was just a plain out asshole.
Shocker.
Second guy I worked with is actually pretty lenient. He's like, here, bro, here's a pistol, carry that. If we went and did raids, he actually gave me a fucking long gun. It's like, fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, then you came in to BW, and I honestly, you were Rob, and from what I remember with Rob, and I'm going to tell his story, but he was always, he wouldn't say anything. He was very back in the shadows and trying to feel out the situation before he would say anything. And I think that was smart because, you come in to a bunch of SEALs and SF, OGA guys and ODA guys and fucking Rangers and MARSOC guys, and you start running your suck. Yeah, it wouldn't have worked very well. So I thought it was like, I just remember watching and looking like, who is that? Why is he always eyeballing everybody? Who is that motherfucker over there? He's just standing there. But it was smart. You're trying to figure out, how stupid we were for the most part for that, and then you were learning.
Yeah, I didn't listen. I know everybody had more military experience than I did. I'm coming in as the oddball. I'd rather sit there. Oddball I was. I'm the only Arab there. And it's best for me to sit back and watch everybody how they do certain things. They might do them differently, and then I'll ask questions.
You did. You know
what I mean?
You weren't arrogant, and you'd always ask, what do we need to do? And that was one thing that's a trait that a lot of us should have, is that if you don't know, admit you don't know, and then just go ask, well, how do I do this? And I never found any friends. If you ever ask me, this is how we do it. We may give you a little shit for just because that's what we do, right. but it's like, and that was the thing with, I would always say, well, fuck, at least he's asking. Well, he didn't have any experience. Well, so what? At least he's fucking asking what we're doing, having some respect of what's going on here, and learning. That's more that can be said for you guys over there that think you know everything.
I mean, listen, there's a plenty of guys that were part of the military that came in that class, and we had some turds.
Oh, and we had fights. I remember watching. I would sit on a set of bleachers to wait to do the operation or whatever the tests we're going to do, and you would see instructors and students fighting with each other, and I'm like, shit. And I actually think I wrote about it in the Ranger Way. I remember going, man, how awesome is this? I'm getting paid, what was it, $300 a day to watch guys fight in the sun here. It's beautiful in North Carolina. It's springtime, and I get to shoot guns, and I'm getting paid money. This is awesome. But I remember watching an ODA guy and one of the instructors who was a White Sofa SEAL team guy, SEAL team 3 or 5, and they were fighting about how to do PSD operations, which nobody knew how to do anyway.
Nobody knew at that point. They were still trying to teach it because they're bringing it over from state.
And that's
how state wanted it.
That was fun. I get your experience on that. My experience was like, holy shit, these guys are that's what I felt. I was like, these guys are teaching us shit that they don't even know how to do. We're dead. We're all going to fucking die when we go over there. But it was still fun. Yeah. What was your experience when you watched that and saw that happen? What went through your head? Did you get that feeling of?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's like, to me, I'm thinking to myself, is like, what the fuck are they arguing about? Who's right? Don't they have a standard that, hey, obviously that you have to follow a standard. So,
but that's
one learned it in one way, and another person learned it in one way.
what.
All right, so who we gonna follow?
Well, that was the thing, is we'd have instructors teaching us different stuff. One instructor would teach you one way. That was a big thing too. That one instructor would teach it one way, another one would teach it another. Like, well, what way do you want us to do it? Which would cause most of the fights. That's what would cause. And I'm not talking just arguments. I'm talking in the faces, students with instructors.
In the face.
But
too many headstrong guys that they both wanted to be right and nobody wanted to back.
And nobody could be right because there was no standard. So it was almost comical, but it was fun, man. It was like,
it was fun. It was some good time.
Good experiences there.
Hey Rob, I'm wondering, did you feel prepared to be carrying a gun overseas in combat when you're next to guys like Chris who have been shot at, who have had to shoot at terrorists? I mean, what's it like going over there without that experience next to guys who have done it for years, in some cases, decades?
You're really never gonna know, how anybody would react. Until shit
it
hits
happens.
the fan.
Yeah.
You're either gonna crumble or you're gonna shine. One of the two. There is no way.
And
so you really don't know. You could always say, hey, yeah, I'm ready. But until shit hits the fan, you really know if you're ready or not. So it's, you always have doubt. You always have that little fear in the back of you, but you don't concentrate on it. So you kind of want to forget about it. I've had some doubts and stuff like that. And I still remember the very first mission we went out on.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, you're kind of like amped up, but then it kind of is like, okay, are we going to fucking make this back? It was like the Wild Wild West back then.
Oh, I agree.
But to be honest with you, when I was doing the interpreting with the other company, I ran out on my own in an unarmored SUV running buyout.
Well, that was
like buyout.
That was before before people really knew how bad it was. Ignorance was truly bliss at that time, and it really was. Yep. People didn't know because Helveston hadn't got attacked yet. The Fallujah element.
Yep.
There was, and Rob, and I know you were there at that time. BW had a smaller contract, the ESS contract, where guys got hit on buyout and died even before Helveston. People don't know about that story. That was Slavko. And some of it, no, not Slavko. It was a bunch of Polish Grom guys, and then a couple Americans that were hit on buyout. So, yeah. But when you were doing that, though, did you realize how because you didn't know how dangerous it was? It was just like, we overtook this country. America says we're good. We got everything under control. Let's just jump in a Hyundai and we'll shoot down buyout. And
and the funny part is, back then when we first got there, it was just like your threat started off as small arms fire only. You only got small arms fire. It's like, okay, you're gonna go 100 miles an hour. You better be a good damn fucking shot with that AK to actually hit it. So, and then after that, it progressed. Then it started becoming RPGs. You know what I mean? And then after RPGs, it was EFP. The
IEDs.
IEDs. IEDs went into EFBs. It's just like it's like a cat and mouse game the whole time. But
what's your
that's basically.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, but go ahead. Good. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying to go back to your question. I mean, it's like I wasn't at the level of the guys when I first went down there, but I was comfortable enough to stand next to them because I felt like I could back them up no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, and we agree. And if you had, that was one thing when you passed, because even though there was a lot of fights there, you did have to pass the standard, shooting standards are shooting standards. You can't fudge those. Yep. And granted, they were State Department shooting standards, which in my opinion aren't that hard in comparison to other shooting standards, but he still had to pass all those shooting standards. So in my eyes, when he was I was like, well, he knows how to handle a gun. He knows how to shoot. He passed the shooting. I mean, you can't be a dirtbag and pass them, but you don't have to be a freaking Ranger or SEAL to pass those shooting standards either. But in my eyes, it's like, well, there were guys that didn't pass those shooting standards, and he did. He's still here. All right, well, let's give him a shot. And my opinion with you, Rob, is also, even though you hated it, to me, it was like I wanted him on my team because even though he may not be an interpreter, if some interpreter local is telling me bullshit, he's going to be right there listening to it. And that's what I'd always do. I'd somebody in Iraqi would be giving me information. I'd look at Rob and go, is he telling me the truth, dude? Because the dude didn't know that Rob spoke.
Yeah, a lot of times I told everybody, like all the Iraqis would look at me, he's like, this guy looks like an Arab. They'll start talking to me in Arabic. Just like, I don't understand what you're saying. I always said, hey, I'm Spanish. I'm Italian. I always threw out a different. I don't understand what you're saying. Because I didn't want anybody knowing that I understood the lingo. Because one, it's more beneficial for me to listen in on the outside than to actually for them to know I understand what they're saying.
And so, even with having an actual linguist or interpreter with you, sometimes the translation is not correct, whether that's on purpose or not. So still, I could always look at Rob and be like, all right, is he telling me the same shit, or is that what he's really saying? Or I'm like, no, he's fucking lying to you. All right, motherfucker, let's try again.
Is there any scenario where like Rob saved the lives of you guys through that?
I think it was more because the attack didn't happen, or I was able to say, bullshit, tell me the real stuff again. What's going on? Like, where's the gate? What gate should we go out of? I remember when we were on the detail with the ambassador, honestly, I think the one time where we did get hit, it was when those little girls died. It was the last and I wrote about it in the Patriots Creed. I did. It was the gate. That's what was the gate. It was like, dude, I was asking Joe and you, like, where are we supposed to be going? Which gate do we need to go out of? And I don't know if you were listening to people talk or what we were doing, but I remember you advised because we were going to go out the opposite gate where the bomb went off.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, dude, now we need to go out the front gate. I'm like, well, we're coming in the way we left. I don't know if that's good, especially because it was a pretty tense mission because the imam or whoever it was, Delta had wrapped up the wrong guy. So we went there to apologize to the.
I think that was Hakeem. That was Hakeem.
So they're already pissed. Everybody knows we're coming in. We're coming in huge because we're taking the Charge d'Affaires, the deputy ambassador, who was the acting ambassador at the time because Negroponte was out of the country. And it was all day. Just things seemed surreal. You and Joe staring down Mercedes that are shooting down the roads, trying to run up to our gate. And I still was like, are you sure, dude? I don't know if I feel comfortable going out the same gate, especially with these Mercedes. And I don't know if you heard something or what, but it was Rob's advice to go out the way we came, which caused us to not get people still died that day. Girls still died. Army Humvee was still injured just because it was unlucky, because it was just wrong place, wrong time. But we had light armor vehicles. We would have got destroyed. And I don't know. You tell me. I never really asked him, but was there anything you heard that day?
Yeah, you know what? I can't recall, to be honest with you. I can't really honestly tell you if it's for sure. It's something I heard. It's been a while.
Yeah, that was 2005. 2005. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think I had heard anything. I had a hunch. A feeling is like, okay, they expect us to go out to the other gate. You know what I mean? So, and I just didn't trust some of his security.
Yeah, I remember you would always walk around security just like, I don't trust these guys.
It's like, I didn't trust any of his security people. It's just like, they expect us to go out the back gate because, they always know we go out the back the gate. It's like, let's just go out the front. And even though they're not expecting.
And I'm being racist to you here, though, but I just say that was his Muslim radar. Man. I'm serious. I'm kidding. It's like, dude, I'm not, but that's what I because
it could have been the turban on my head, man. I don't know.
It was always something where Rob, it's just like he had that sixth sense, man. And it was, I don't know if it was a cultural thing or just maybe it's just his intuition. And and for all you guys, Rob and I fucking joke all the time. So eat shit if that pisses you off. Yeah. He's my boy. It was and honestly, if he wouldn't have said that, because the mission was to go out a different way, where the bomb was, where the Mercedes, it was a black car that was a VBID, and we would have got fucking mashed. And luckily for us, we went the right way, but unlucky for the little girls that were playing across the road, they got shredded. It was really bad because it was a day that it felt normal to me, at least like as a normal day, like you're watching kids outside play, because kids outside in Iraq played, and it just turned into like, fuck, God dang this place. It's like son of a bitch.
Yeah.
But I know we're getting into this. I left and we'll talk. I wanted to talk about this because it was funny. Rob and I, we had an incident when I left DSS, and Rob and I are still very good friends. He was working in the talk. He was an awesome guy in the talk and just coordinating movements and shit. But I was a detail leader for the ambassador, and I had taken a shit and I left my pistol. I take my pistol off and I left it in the bathroom, the ambassador's bathroom. Tell the story, dude. Tell the story. I don't have any problem telling the story. I fucked up, failed miserably, but tell the story because I remember I went to Rob and what did I look like when I was like, holy shit, I lost my pistol in the ambassador's bathroom.
It's like, dude, I can't believe it. I just fucking lost my pistol. It's like, what? How the fuck did you do that? Because I left it in the bathroom. I was taking a shit. It's like, are you sure you're only taking a shit?
I was like, dude, this isn't. I know when he said that, like, this isn't funny, man. It's gone. I don't know where it's at. The ambassador. I was like, oh my god, the ambassador. Somebody's going to shoot the ambassador, and I'm in charge of his detail. He's my guy. I'm in head of the ambassador detail. So, yeah, I remember running.
The funny part is, anything that happens comes through the talk. So if anybody found anything, it has to bring it over to the talk. I was just like, and there's like nobody brought anything over yet, or nobody called in anything or found anything. So it's just like, what the fuck do we do now? And then of course we find out later on what
a Marine,
how that pistol tried to make its way back to the States.
A Marine security guard had, that was his beat. He'd walk by, he found it, and instead of turning it in, he put it in his bag and tried to smuggle it back in the U.S. But that being said, I was, I'm prompt. It was actually a massive. It was a massive.
It was pissed.
And it was a massive failure because I got fired from my job. I actually got cut from DSS, which is like, holy shit, what's going to happen now? But after that, it's kind of I was one of those guys, fuck up, move up sort of things. It really, I hear that term, but because of Rob and he did eventually find it. That's who found the gun with the Marine because he was checking everybody. But after that, I did some private stuff, and then the OGA guys came calling and said, "Hey, do you want to come be GRS for more money?" And I was like, "Well, I guess that was a blessing that happened." But I don't know. I remember it because I remember talking to Rob about it, and I remember we talked about it last night a little bit before we came on. It's like, yeah,
you were more hard on yourself than anybody else.
Yeah. I
remember that. It was kind of funny. It's good to laugh about now.
Kind of funny. Hey, but and you stayed when I left. You stayed doing State Department stuff, which it came to. What did you see on the progression when it went from DS to DS High Threat to WIPS 1 to WIPS 2 to WPPS 55 to? I mean, what was your
the quality of people is going down.
Well, the standards changed, right?
There was no more standards at all whatsoever. It was basically coming into a point that anybody that carries a weapon, like before Class 1, you actually had to pass the course.
And
the training you had to pass. There was no, you get through the training. No, you actually had to pass the training or else you got cut. Plain out and simple. You got voted at the end of each night if everybody met the standard.
And you had to have 3 years or 4 years of special ops, which again made it harder on you because we're like, what the fuck is this dude doing here? You don't got the experience.
Yeah, because everybody it was a minimum, 3-4 years of special operation, Green Beret, whatever it is, but it was all special forces guys or 18 Deltas. And here I am, just a regular old schmo that just has the language in his pocket, could semi-shoot, but and I'm hanging out with these guys. It's like, how the fuck did I make it through these guys? But obviously the language helped out a lot and just ran with it from there. But as time when I stayed in Baghdad, the quality just kept going down and down and down. It just like, it was not fun like it used to be. And then everything was starting to become our rules of engagement started getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Pretty much, you cannot engage a vehicle after you get blown up. Basically, that's how. you know how it was. It's just like before when we first got there, it's just like, you know, we gave you a shout, we gave you an arm, and you didn't listen. You were getting sprayed. We were going to do whatever it is to stop that vehicle. At that, you know, after you left, it was just starting to get harder and harder to get people to actually follow your directions and your rules of engagement. If you were fired your weapon, you would have to sit there and go answer why'd you fire and everything, and go through like almost like an investigation,
like an inquisition,
because you fired the weapon. It was starting to get not fun at all. So,
well, and that's that's unsafe. I don't think people realize how unsafe it was. We play it down a lot, but every day something could happen. A grenade rolled under your car, rolled under your sub as you're driving down the road. IEDs everywhere. EFPs. When he said EFPs, that's an electric. Electrical force projectile or explosively forced projectile. It's a platter charge. They put a piece of copper over the bomb, so when it blows up, it turns into molten lava and it can go through armor. And that thing could defeat anything. And that was prevalent there. So, and you couldn't let a car get 10 meters to you. By that time, it's too fucking late. So, it made it.
I mean, and you can't. You want to give yourself and your team a chance as further as possible. And the 100-meter signs were people were starting to get more gutsy and getting closer. You don't know who's a friend and who's a threat anymore. And it wasn't as, you know, as safe for the guys. And that's when I decided to just stay on APD.
The ambassador, that's the ambassador's protection detail. And that coupled with less skilled operators or less skilled people doesn't sit well. Rules of engagement more stringent. You have people with less skills. And there's great guys over there. I'm not knocking them. They did a good job. They still never lost anybody when they were over there. But it creates the perfect storm of a bad shoot, because now you're getting guys pissed off. The rules are there. Fuck these rules. I'm more pissed off. Now I'm worried more than anything because I'm worried I'm going to die. So I'm not looking for the indicators I should be looking for. And it was just a perfect storm of having bad shoots. And that's where more rules sometimes doesn't help. Well, more rules, I don't know what, Ian, maybe you have a different opinion of it, Rob. I just think more rules don't always help because it doesn't let you free think. And it inhibits an operator from using their head and actually doing their job, of which is looking for indicators, looking for those patterns, looking for those hunches that you had. Yeah. It limits them. And then you're just one pissed off dude out there that wants to shoot just because I'm so pissed off, and you're looking for that opportunity to. So that's what I saw. And honestly, I think God was looking out for me by me leaving that gun in that restroom by saying, "Hey, you need to get the fuck out of here and go do something else, you idiot." But we're gonna make you look like a dipshit before you do that. So,
the big man does look out for all of us, don't he?
He does.
Because I sometimes I feel that's the only reason I'm still here. He's just like, remember I told you I was applying for all the agencies.
Oh, that's once you get into that, and honestly, that's a good segue in because, dude, you were blown up by the biggest car bomb ever to hit. Still to this day is the biggest car bomb ever to hit Baghdad. So,
yeah, I wanted to get into that because that's, for those of you who haven't read the Patriots Creed, which all of you should once again. Yeah, that's the big story in there. And you, and I'd like to get into this too. You kind of on the fence of, and we hear this all the time from Glenn Doherty, who passed away, the idea of like, this is the last one. This is my last deployment. And then that happens.
Yeah. It's funny because I had just had my, I had just gotten married in 2008. 2009, July 14th, my son was born. And, in the meantime, I was, I already been doing contracting for a while. And I was, contracting is an opportunity, not a career. So, that's the way I looked at it. And to me, I was applying for all the agencies already. And I was going through a lot of the testing processes while I was being deployed. I would fly back and do my phase 1, my phase 2. And,
was this for the FBI or CIA or NSA to be
for the Bureau? Yeah.
Okay.
There's a Bureau. There's a Secret Service. We had the Air Marshals, ATFs. So I was applying for everything, and that was my ticket for me. As once my son was born, I'll come back home and actually just have a job back, stay home. And stay home, and you can't go wrong with one of the agencies anyway. So that was my fallback plan, and I've been applying the whole time, and I was just waiting. I had already passed everything. I was just waiting on offer letters. And when my son was born, I had promised his mom, I said, listen, I'll only be gone up to my son being 1 year old. After that, whether I get an offer letter or not, I said, that's it. I'll call it quits. I'll come back. I'll do something. And that was the original deal. So he was born in July. I told her not this December. I said, after this contract is over, that's it. Like by September of the following year, I'll be done. And I stayed home. I made it home July 15th. I missed his birthday day. I made it home. I stayed home July, August, a little bit of September, and I went back, boots on the ground, towards the end of September. And I was only on the ground for about 3 weeks when my accident happened. It was October 25th, 2009. So I had just been back on the ground for about a month maybe. And that's when the accident happened. And it's funny is because, when you see, I'll go back and, talk. I don't know if you guys want me to talk about the accident at all.
Yeah. No, get it. Whatever you're comfortable with, the people would love to hear it.
Now, how you watch movies when, something traumatic happens, it goes in slow motion. Your brain, I can actually attest to this, does slow everything down to slow motion.
You wrote about, in our book, you wrote about that. It was really, and I completely agree. Just the shock. To me, the shock.
You would think like, I've never believed it. You watch movies like, oh, that's fucking bullshit. But living through it and actually seeing it, it was just like, it's actually true. You can't believe how your brain slows shit down. So when the car bomb happened to be, we were at, forget the damn.
It was right outside
Ministry.
Yeah, it was right outside Big Assassin's Gate.
It was right outside Checkpoint 2.
Yeah, between Little Assassins and Big Assassin's Gate, right there.
Yep. Between Bridge 1 and 2. Yep. So there was a broke down vehicle, acted like a broke down vehicle, right in front of the gate. Hood up, guys sitting right there. And the guys picked it up from across the street. And, it's funny, Val and I, we're standing right there, right at the front entrance. We just had, posted everybody. We did our sweep. We did all our meets. And we called in, Venues Green.
You were the advanced team, right? You were on the advanced team at that time.
Yeah, we were the advanced team. Yep. We called in Venue Green. And it's funny, Val and I were just shooting the shit. It's like, man, I'm just getting tired. I'm about ready to just call it quits. I said, after this contract done, and Val was saying the same thing. And then we realized, we're looking around, it's like, don't they have more security than normal today? And like, yeah, they actually do. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. They're like, well, I don't know. I said, maybe they're training up a whole bunch of people, And that's when I was actually looking out at the gate, and Val was actually looking in at me with his back to the gate, and that's when the boom went off. And it's funny how, like I said, the brain slows down. Is first thing I seen is the fire go, over the gate. You could see the explosion over the gate, and then all of a sudden the shockwave started coming towards me and Val, and then you see the shockwave go under the gate, over the gate all of a sudden disappears. The big 18-foot T-walls started disintegrating to rubble. And then it all started coming towards us. And the first thing I'd say, oh, shit. And I started turning. And that's when everything hit full blast. Next thing I know, I was talking to myself in my head. I was like, okay, what's going on? Are you dead? I was like, I don't know. I've never died before, so I don't know about that. You're fucking talking to yourself because you can't hear nothing.
Yeah.
You don't, and it's just like, I said, if you're dead, would you be talking to yourself like this? It's like, you just don't know. It's fucking funny.
And in your case, you couldn't see anything either, right?
I couldn't see and I couldn't hear anything. So I don't know, if I was still unconscious or anything. And then the first thing, and then I don't know how long had passed. And then I started getting my hearing back. I could hear people screaming, yelling, and everything around me, like a whole bunch of commotion. And I try to open up my eyes, couldn't.
Yeah.
I touch my face, it's all slimy, And the first thing I think about is my son. It's like, Adam, you got to get up. You got to get up. You got to go see Adam. Get your ass up. And so that's how I made it back up to my feet,
It's amazing, man. It's amazing. Just the stones from those walls. I mean, those things aren't small walls that you just weren't shredded and every bone broken. I mean, to me, that's a fucking miracle. Dude, unbelievable.
I tell you what, when I got up, docs said, reason I'm still alive is I have that big old gash up on the head, that big U shape. He goes, all that stone, rubble, mud, everything got compacted in there and actually stopped the bleeding. Or else I would have.
That's why I call him Penis Head. There you go, right there. That's why he's Penis Head. I no, keep going, right? Because this is, I mean, it's people.
No, but to be honest with you, and he's like, you're blessed that all that stuff got compacted in there because it stopped the bleeding, or else you would have been dead.
So when you got up, I know till you started to see Val. What was going on with that? You started to hear Val. Yep.
No, I started hearing screaming and people around me. And the funny part is I was like, I stood up. I was like down on my knees, hanging through a window or wall, whatever it was. I made it up to my feet, and I was like, okay, if I turn to the left and walk straight, thinking I'm still in the same spot where I was blown out, maybe I can make myself way back up. So I make my way up. I turn left. I try to walk straight, and there's a wall there. There's absolutely nothing. So I was like, I started feeling, I can't see anything. So I started feeling everything around me, and then to my left seemed clear with almost like a cable hanging out or something. So I turned to the left, and it feels like I'm standing up on a hill or something. I don't know what it is. And then I started calling out for Val. I call out for Val, can't hear him, nothing. And then I totally forgot about my radio. So all of a sudden I hear the guys from the car calling out the radio. Is like, oh shit, my radio. So I go for my mic where I normally clip it. It's not there. So, I had to sit there and go to and dangle the wire back and bring my mic back. And then I call out to the cars and say, hey, it's Rob. I'm somewhere inside. Don't know where I'm at. Can't find Val. And, and let them know. And they're like, all right, hang tight. Well, the snipers are making their way down, or the guys that are standing up at the meeting room are making their way down from the 3rd floor. So hang tight. So hang tight. And then I just stood there and I could hear people walking and screaming around me. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, this is a perfect opportunity for somebody to come from behind me and take my weapon. Yeah. And I was like, okay. Put my elbow on my pistol. I was like, all right, if anybody comes near me, I don't give a fuck. Obviously, I'll fucking just shoot. I'll pull it out and start shooting. And I can't see shit, but I'll shoot something. Then I hear somebody from my left-hand side, kind of like a little bit further away, actually saying in Arabic, somebody help this guy, somebody helping this guy, and nobody comes. And he, God bless his soul, one day I will meet him. He comes up to me from my left side and tells me in Arabic, give me your hand.
That's cool.
And I give him my left hand, and he starts walking me down from wherever I'm at. As I'm walking down, he's like, as soon as I got close to him, I said to him, shukran in Arabic, thank you. He goes, what'd you say? And I told him, thank you, again in Arabic. He goes, come on. As he's bringing me down, he tells me, hey, be careful, you're stepping on bodies. Like, dude, I can't see anything. So he gets me down to level ground. He goes, walk straight. When you start feeling water hit your feet, you're safe. So, all right. So started walking straight. All of a sudden, the water started getting deeper and deeper. And it's like, what the fuck? Am I inside or outside? Why the fuck? If I'm outside, why is there water? So I stood still right where I'm at. And then, I don't know if I'm inside or outside. Now, all of a sudden, I started hearing gunshots going off. And there was a guy nearby screaming. And I kind of like grab him. Reach out to him and grab him and say, am I inside or outside? He goes, you're outside. And, obviously I spoke to him in Arabic. And I called back to the cars, tell them, hey, I'm somewhere standing outside. Don't know where I'm at. I can hear gunfire, but I'm standing in water. They're like, yeah, we're en route. Hang tight. We'll be there in a second. And then the next thing I remember is I hear Q's voice say, Rob, we got eyes on you, buddy. We got you. And then they came over and got me over across to the other side. And I was thinking, I remember Doc was started wash my face, clean me up, to see how bad it is. And I told Doc, is like, hey, Val's gone. He goes, no, Rob, Val's okay. I go, Doc, Val's gone. He goes, no, he's in the follow vehicle. He's good. So you sure? He goes, yeah. So, and I told Doc at that time, he's like, hey, Doc, how bad is it? He's like, I can't see anything, Rob, right now. I can't tell you. I said, listen, I don't give a shit what I look like. I don't care. As long as I have my vision where I can see my son grow up in front of me, that's all I care about. He goes, we'll do our best, Rob. You know that. And then I remember we were trying to get the medevac in, and the scene was just, they couldn't get the medevacs to land there. So they actually had to get me and Val over to the cross-swords in order to get the medevacs to land. So, and the roads, there was no way for us to come out. So they had to send out TST and the Mamba team to come out and grab us to take us over to the cross-sword.
To push through. Now I remember Ben. That wasn't that Triple Canopy? That wasn't even Blackwater's team. Was that Triple Canopy's team with the TSTs, or was that Blackwater's team that came out there?
Well, no. By that time, BW.
Were they?
TC had took over.
Okay,
yep, had taken over the contract. Remember?
Yeah, they were the conglomerate now. All right.
Yep.
And you got over there. I remember. Yeah, that's to me. I still.
It was actually before that, because when Blackwater lost the contract, TC took over. I kind of stayed over with TC.
Gotcha.
Just because I know.
Sure.
Then it started to become, you know how it was when we first got there. Anybody got hurt, the headshed will be the first people on the birds up to Balad to make sure they're all right. And up to this point, nobody from that headshed came up and checked up.
It was a different.
It was a different animal, and right then and there, it's just like fuck that shit.
Yeah, I do remember. That's one thing I do remember is that when people did get hurt, the headshed guys were still. Most of them were still guys that were on the ground, or as much as Al. I didn't have Al on the ground for us, Marine Al. The fucker was a fuck.
Al Harris.
The dude was a good leader, and he would be there for you if somebody got hurt. He was a former Marine. Marines. He was a Marine, Sergeant Major. Still, as far as an operator goes, it had passed his time. But the dude was all about the dudes. Yeah, and those guys had left. That something bigger is gone. I always say that. It is that something bigger had continually left. But now it's good because you had Q. You had some solid guys there. Q Val was pretty solid.
I know we did
solid, and
yeah. Listen, the team we were on, they're all a lot of solid.
Well, and that was that. You know what I mean? That was Joe Espino was over there still, wasn't he? Joe was over on the Ambulance team.
I left the advanced team. I left the ambassador detail.
Went to the advanced.
Go over to IPD.
Gotcha.
Because when me and Redhead got into it.
Gotcha.
What's his name?
You mean the DS officer, the Department of State, Grape Ape?
No, Rob.
Shit, I don't know. Who are you fighting with now?
Yeah, hold on. No, fuck, I forgot his name. It's
It ain't important.
The only redhead operator I know is Rob O'Neill.
No, it wasn't Rob O'Neill, but I guarantee.
No.
I guarantee you, if he was over there would have been a lot of fights over there.
No, they put him in charge of. They put him in charge of training.
I can't remember his fucking name.
I'm trying to remember his name. I know it's Rob.
Yeah, you're not gonna remember. You're getting older, dude.
It'll come to me later. Anyway,
but I
am.
You got to.
So I got into it with him, and they wanted to take APD gold from me. They didn't want me to be the shift lead anymore because they wanted me to be a interpreter. I was refused.
And you've been fighting that battle since we got there, man. They're like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. It's like, just quit asking him. It's not going to fucking happen. Just quit asking. But when you
know, and they were trying to force me. I was like, fuck it.
What was? And I'm jumping because I do want people to know, because I remember seeing the picture. You know, I saw you when you were I didn't see you, but I saw when you were hurt. And you were fucked up. I mean, really bad. You got a round, fat face as it is. Just think of that thing like the fucking jack-o'-lantern.
It was
like you. But you know, once you got back, what was that like? You know, just recovering, man. Because you couldn't see. You literally had shit all over your eyes. You look like a jack-o'-lantern with gauze over your eyes is what you look like.
You know, to be honest with you, it was when I got back, it was pretty tough because getting used to being the breadwinner, going 100 miles an hour all the time, coming back home to sit between four walls, where my wife at the time had to go back to work, and I had to sit next to the baby. Which is my son, you know, and I didn't mind it at all. She's like, we'll get somebody to sit with them. I don't want you to, with my back problems and everything at that time. But it was pretty tough on me. It took 2 years of almost going between doctors, surgeries, physical therapy, speech therapy, almost everything. 2 years exactly. I was going 5 days a week. From 8 a.m. till about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But
you stuck with it. A lot of guys. That's awesome that you stuck with it, man. A lot of guys don't.
I stuck with it, but after the second year, I was fed up. They hadn't released me. I just called it quits.
Well,
I'm done.
Well, that's good. You were ready, man. That's fine. That's perfect. That's what you got to do.
And I told the doc, and I just, they just don't want to release you, and I was just like, I'm done. I am fed up. Yeah, granted, there's no way for me. Doctor will not clear me to go back overseas. Sure. I was like, fuck it, I'll find something to do here, and that's how I started Blue Diamond.
Dude,
what is it? What are you doing right now, Rob?
Oh, dude,
I own a.
No, I'm telling his story here. No, go ahead. He has the best limo company in the country, dude. That's who I use whenever I travel. The best car service. It's by far. In fact, you're helping me out next week, man. I won't use anybody else. He's awesome, tremendous. But go ahead, you tell him about it.
No, I'm good. No, I own a limousine and executive transportation service. Car service from the airport. We do party buses, limousines, shuttle buses. Big motor coaches. We have that all. So I started that out of boredom with one vehicle. We're doing pretty good. We took a hit during COVID, but we'll make it. Like I said, you never stop. And right now, this is what I'm still doing.
Is it fulfilling for you? Because I think for a lot of guys, like they transition from going overseas, being shot at, having to shoot terrorists, and to now having to live a regular civilian life. Do you feel fulfilled? Do you feel that itch to go over, even though you can't?
Yeah, trust me, I will go over in a heartbeat. And nobody would understand this, and Chris, you probably would. I wanted to go back, even if I just go back for one mission, but I wanted to walk out on my own 2 feet. I did not want to leave the way I left. And even to this day, if I get a chance to go back over there, I'll go back there in a heartbeat. If it wasn't for my kids right now, I'll go back in a heartbeat.
And you may have that opportunity because you are back at it again. You're back. As far as healthy wise, you are. You can never run anyway, so that's not like it's a big change of pace that you.
That's true.
But
hey, mofo, you got me to get running.
This guy,
yeah,
we used to.
This motherfucker was my roommate,
and I'd be like, "It's time to go run, dude." It was like 120, and I'm very blessed as a run, and I could run. Me and Lucas, and this fucker would come out and run with us. I thought he was going to die. I was like, "Dude, we're killing you." I said, "You don't have to do this run. Don't go with us on this sprint. You stay here." No, I'm fucking going. All right, you kill yourself, but I ain't picking your big ass up and taking you to the docks. You're going to die right here. Lucas be like, "Yep, we ain't taking you anywhere, man. You're staying right here with your big ass." But that's where his toughness. It was amazing. So when it happened, when I heard, it didn't surprise me that he walked out. It's like, that motherfucker's tough, and there's no way he's going to stay down. He almost literally died by heat exhaustion running. I mean, and me and Lucas didn't joke around with. We could run. And he was the only one out of all the tough sons of bitches out there that were all tough operators. He was the only one that would run with us out there in that fucking heat with body armor on sometimes too. Just to because I mean, I figured, if we have to get an altercation, I got to know how to run with this body armor on. You know what? I there's part, and I want to make sure that I was right. And I do think it was a sign for you to do what you're doing now and to continue is. When you got back, didn't you get your letter from one of the agencies?
I did.
Offer of employment.
I actually got multiple offer letters from the multiple agencies, and I actually had to disclose my injuries. And they pretty much rescinded those letters and said, you know what, when you get cleared, you could contact us back. We can't guarantee a position will be open, but obviously, once you get cleared, you still also got to get cleared through our medical doctors. To me, that was just.
But couldn't you still be a linguist? Couldn't you still be just a? I mean, I know it probably wouldn't satisfy you as much as being like an actual combat terp or being an on the ground interpreter. But even being a linguist, man, would you not want to do that? Where you may have to sit in office, but is that something you wouldn't want to do?
Nah. Nope, I'm good. That's not me.
No, and I figure I would assume so because I just wanted to know, and I do want to listen.
I'd rather be on the ground, boots on the ground, being one of the guys than the fucking.
Yeah, you could tell that's what inspires you, and that's what made you leave like what looks like a promising career to go do that. So, I mean, this has been an incredibly inspiring story. If I could end at least my question with something less serious and less inspiring, because you guys said it before we hit the record button. What is the origin of Chris being called Princess? Because I know that's now your daughter's call sign.
That is that is the guys, for everybody out there. This is nobody knows except the guys I work with the State Department, and that was my first call sign was Princess. And yeah, go ahead. You tell the story how I got it from you and Joe. And
which wouldn't work on like the Thadia t-shirt. It's Princess.
They should make that Princess.
I'll wear it. I'd wear it. I embraced it. I was like, yeah, fuck you guys. Fine. I'll make myself look prettier.
This guy, before we were roommates for a while. This motherfucker would get up and stay in the bathroom for hours fixing his hairs. He's got to look sharp
good,
before he puts his body armor. We're getting geared up, and this motherfucker worried about what he looks like. So it's like he's always got to be a princess.
And it wasn't.
So that's where.
And him and Joe with Spino, Joe Dak, man. I think was it you or Joe that did it first because it came over the radio. It's like, hurry the fuck up, Princess. And I was the shift leader, so they couldn't go anywhere because I was the leader. They're like, hurry the fuck up, Princess. Somebody said it on the radio and it stuck, and I can't remember who it was.
I don't know if it was it might have been Espino. I'm not sure.
Espino was always doing stupid shit. That motherfucker. I love that piece. I love that fucker. Dude.
Might have been Espino.
I love that dude. But
yeah,
it did. They said it on the radio.
It's either Espino or Lucas.
One of the two.
Or Lucas, one of them.
And Lucas is tremendous as well. But that's what I mean. I still look as good as I did then, I think. I mean, I can still take with the princess. Don't you think so? Come on. You still love my sexiness. Don't hate it.
Like a vagina.
Oh, man. But that's what Rob I have on it was amazing. That's what I wrote about him in the book. It's like all this shit happened. And what did he do? He just made like the best limo company in the country, in my opinion. I mean, and I'd use limo, like not limos, but car companies with the speaking because, and I've used the Limo Link and what's the other one? Ground Link and and limo link services, and they always fuck up. And Rob is like, his guy is there. He's nice. It's like, man, it just transferred into excelling, even though he shouldn't even have been there to begin with, because he, as far as we were concerned, he didn't qualify. Excelling at what he did in the State Department, and now he all these injuries, he got out of it. The dude can walk normal again. He always kind of walked all fucked up anyway because he's Rob. Yeah. But
after I run with him, I'm normally fucking walking.
But excelling, and you also have your own truck. I mean, you even started your own truck company too. So
I did. So running that too. I'm always dabbling in a lot of different things.
Man, crazy.
Just like awesome. You always Chris knew from even overseas.
Oh, well. I got one more. I got one more story to tell.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
This son of a bitch. This is before all the advent of all the cool phones out here. So he had his little Nokia phone, and whenever even when we were on an op, he had his earpiece in, and then he had his phone that could call to the States. He had his own international phone and an earpiece in that ear. So even on ops, he was making business deals during I was like, Rob, get off your fucking phone, dude. We're on a mission right now. Tell them bye. We got a mission now. You quit making side deals.
How do you know it wasn't a girl?
And I didn't even care. But at that point, I was like, I didn't even care. It was the funniest thing. It's like he still was working even when he was working. I'm like, oh my God, this team. How did I inherit these guys, man? So, but
that team was like an all-star.
We did have an all-star.
That first team 4.
Yeah, we were.
Team 4 was an all-star team. You know that.
It was. We were definitely. You don't make teams like that.
Almost every member on that team became a shift lead or a detail lead.
Joe's running the program now in Kurdistan. Yeah. He's still working, but he fucking runs the program now. And the dude's dumber than a bag of hammers. That's just how. No, I know Joe's super intelligent. But anyway, Rob, man, thank you for having us on. Thank you for coming on.
Having me over, and it's been a pleasure, my man.
No, absolutely. And for the audience, you guys could follow Rob on Instagram at Rob Jabber, Rob Jaber. And should we throw a plug in there for your limo service for people who are interested?
Listen, it's BDL Worldwide.
And you have
so it's just the website bdlworldwide.com or
bdlworldwide.com and we're not just here in Michigan, but we do it worldwide actually.
He's picking.
So by the way, how is it living in Michigan right now?
Fucking 18 inches of snow.
Yeah.
It just came down the last couple of days. We got 18 inches.
Everything okay? You're dealing with them. I know Ian and I don't get into politics on the show or anything. It was Michigan. I don't know. Every time I come down to Michigan, there was a group that was going to protest me during a speech, 4 years ago, because they didn't know who the fuck I was. They're like, oh, Benghazi, anti-Hillary's and this son of a bitch showed up. He's like, fuck those motherfuckers. It was an Islamic community that didn't want to hear me to tell my story. Was it outside of Dearborn? Somewhere right in there.
Yeah, it was outside.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, Rob, can you show up
No, actually, it was in Canton.
It was in Canton, Canton, Michigan. And at the theater, it was awesome. I said, Rob, can you show up and tell these people to knock it the hell off? And he showed up, but none of them showed up anyway. But he came, and it was still pretty awesome. So I appreciate that, bro.
I always got your six.
Same here, man. Same here, brother. I appreciate it. You're the man. I still love you, penis head. I still love you.
Yeah, you do, JJ. I got you.
Oh man.
No, that's awesome, Rob, and this has been a great episode, and I think your story and just the way your candor and everything embodies what we do at the show. The mix of the humor and the combat that you've gone through, but also the resilience that you experienced and the inspiration that comes from that story. I think people are going to hear that, and we get emails all the time. I've just read an email from the episode we did with Zach Anderegg, who rescued a puppy at the bottom of a canyon, retired Marine, and people listen to these back episodes and it inspires them to get through their everyday life. So I think for you, people are going to hear this and they're going to say, if Rob Jabber could get through the biggest car bomb blast, I could get through what I'm having to go through today.
I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you for that. And, to be honest with you, the man right there, Princess over there, he has a lot to do with, he shaped me to never quit too.
Thanks, bro. Thanks, man.
I learned a lot from him, and that's why I got much respect for him. And he knows he's my brother from another mother. He knows.
Thanks,
that.
bro. I appreciate it. And you look Mexican almost, so I'll accept you, man.
You know, halfway. So
I look Lebanese a little
bit. I look a little Latino. Like a little Latino.
Hey, love you, man. Man. I'll talk to you later, brother. I will. We'll get with you later.
I will.
All right, buddy.
And
thanks, guys.
Pleasure, man.
That's all for this episode of the Battleline Podcast, but we'll be back on Monday with more American Straight Talk. Until then, be sure to follow us on Instagram at Battleline Podcast and on Twitter at Battleline Pod. To sign up for future Battleline tactical courses, go to www.christantoparanto.net. Believe in yourself, face all challenges head on, and as always, never quit.